Hi, I would be covering a very short talk on blisters, which you usually get on the palm. Now it's a part and parcel of the training programs, and usually try to avoid the gloves because gloves basically cause the interception and the signal which is sent to the brain. Whatever exercise you get registered into your central nervous system. So usually try to avoid the gloves at the first point. Using some gloves, some part of gloves for your grip training is something different, but many times we see that we use gloves to avoid blisters, so it will never help in your training, never. So the first thing is never wear the gloves in strength training. If you are using gloves from your grip training perspective, that's a different call altogether. But you're trying to see that you're having a training where you're trying to avoid the blisters. There are two things major. Okay, first is use a very good chalk. If you're not using chalk, then it is going to be very difficult for you to manage the kettlebells in your swing, clean, press, push, press positions, because you're going to anyway slip. So when it slips, then your body tries to accommodate and tries to get into that position of balancing the kettlebells more, and in that form you try to engage more of your grip using the forearm than the hook. So ideally it's a hook grip. So when you're talking about chalk, you need to use the calcium carbonate, correct? Not the chalk which is, this basically comes in the form of a block, not the chalk which is basically available in the market and like a normal chalk. Use a good quality Olympic lifting chalk. You can get that on Amazon. Now when you're talking about avoiding blisters, ensure that the grip is a hook. Okay, so this is a handle. Okay, first you need to ensure that you are hooking the bell in one corner, this position. So you're not actually engaging your forearm completely when you're holding, but you're actually holding it with the fingers. Okay, the thumb goes on top of the first finger. So this is basically a grip. Second, when you're sliding the kettlebell or when you're doing a clean, you're actually taking that small bump, okay, so that the kettlebell jumps and it comes in the rack position completely. So this position. So you're actually not touching you're not allowing the kettlebell to slide into this position. Okay, so this position is not there. It is either a hook or either it is coming diagonal on your wrist. Okay, so when you're doing clean or maybe when you're doing press, many times we see that this happens, so this is incorrect. Your insertion has to come correct. If you follow step-by-step method of having a very good chalk, the most important part is having a very good kettlebell. Now how do you understand that you're having a very good kettlebell? The kettlebell has a small abrasions. If you buy a new kettlebell, the handle itself has a small abrasions, and that is specifically made so that the chalk uniformly basically sits on the bell. But many competition kettlebells I see, they don't have the abrasions. So you need to first understand, when you pick up a right bell, pick up a right company who knows about it. So if you have that abrasions and if you use a polish paper and rub it, it becomes rough. But if the handle is still shiny like this one, this is shiny. Just understand, you'll never avoid the blisters. First you need to understand that the handle should not be shiny. Many a times I see that handles are shiny, so try to avoid that. It is completely white, and the kettlebell is completely chalked up correctly, so that at the first level you have a good grip. Second is a technique. If you don't do a technique correctly, and if you don't really brush up your technique with a lighter bell, just forget about getting the blisters. You'll always get the blisters. When you get the technique correct, with the light bell, mark my words, with the light bell, then it is a time to move to the heavy bell. But many people rush to the heavy bell faster because they really want to get a good numbers. But on a horizon of 2 months, 3 months, or maybe a year, your numbers will come down because you have not got to the technique correct. Please understand, your technique is key. So hook, as you can see, and when you see, I'm going to show you the clean. When you rack, you insert. So that's basically the insertion. Now when you jump to do the swing, the kettlebell will come to the hook position. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So from here, when you're going down, I'm doing this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So I'm trying to avoid this part. It's difficult to ensure that your belly is traveling in this part, and it would really require a very good practice and a very minute observation of your technique when it comes to kettlebells, because everything is about the repetitions. Understand? So if you want to move on to 20, then 24, then 28, then 32s, well, initially you will get blisters, but as you progress in your training for a few months or maybe few years, I think the blister should stop. That means the problem is not kettlebells, the problem is technique, 100%. So you need to understand that if you get your technique correctly, then I think you'll get rid of the blisters. Second, this is also related to the novice lifters. When they start, the skin comes out. That's pretty obvious, because when you're novice, then definitely the technique is going to be haphazard, and it really requires a very minute understanding of lifting. Is first of all, why do you want to do swing, clean, press, push, press? If you have certain goals, then right, because people switch the training programs very frequent, and that is also one of the reasons is getting the blisters. Snatch to long cycle to snatch, and first stick to one program, get good numbers, and then move on to some different lift. That's basically how the process is, and your body adapts and understands. But if you're senior, then things are different, because your body understands what you're doing. But when you're a novice lifter, specifically, if you're doing one exercise, stick to that particular plan for at least few months before you move on to a new movement or a new exercise. Okay, so to avoid blisters, couple of things to wind up. Good chalk. First of all, good kettlebell. Ensure that the handle is good. Good chalk. I will put another video how to apply chalk, so that you should be able to do it correctly. Starting position should be good, so that you get the space when you are doing clean. This is the movement. Okay, so not brushing, not holding in center. A couple of things. Then when you're doing clean, snatch, ensure that you throw the bell so that you catch at your hook, and that's a technique. Again, that's practice, and I think you should get that with a lighter bell, and then you can move on to a heavier bell, and you should be able to perform good in competitions, or maybe if you're just using kettlebells for general fitness, you should be able to do good, and blisters won't keep your training program away. Because I know when you get the blisters, then you lose up the training for at least a week, because it really takes a lot of time to heal. So ensure that your training is up to the mark. Ensure that you follow a good training program with the lighter bell, and then slowly progress to the heavier bell. Okay, I wish you good luck. Thank you.